Donald Trump has decided to change the name of this book. It's the same book, but they changed the name to Great Again. And instead of glowering at the world, Donald Trump has kind of a smile like, you know, I got a used car I want to sell you, kind of a smile.
I think the reason why you see these enormous crowds rallying around Donald Trump, enormous crowds yesterday out west, is because he's made a real connection with everyday Americans. And so my advice to him for Sunday night is what it was before the last debate, and that is go out, be yourself, and share that vision for how we're going to make America great again.
Well, the two vice presidential nominees talking about the top of the ticket and what's happening. We have new polls, a couple of them out today. In New Hampshire, a Suffolk Boston Globe poll has Clinton up 2 within the margin of error, essentially tied there with Donald Trump. There you see Johnson and Stein on there in the four-way. And then in Michigan, this is Detroit Free Press and WXYZ. This says Clinton up 11 in Michigan. Our Fox average of national polls has not changed, still at 2.2 Clinton lead. Let's bring in our panel. Jason Riley, columnist with the Wall Street Journal. Julie Pace, White House correspondent for the Associated Press. Mercedes Schlapp, columnist for the Washington Times, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Okay, state of the race, Jason.
Well, Trump is still behind, and that's the bottom line. We see some movement in the polls in a few states. I think he's doing better in Pennsylvania, Iowa, but in most of the battleground states, he's still behind, and there's a lot at stake in these next 2 debates, frankly. We'll have to see if he can pick up where Pence left off. I think he would be wise to copy his VP pick's poise, his temperament. I think it served Pence very well in that debate, and not allow himself to get baited into responding to all of these divisive things that he said. I think that would serve him very well.
He is doing a town hall, Julie. He is reportedly getting advice from Chris Christie. Interesting that he's going to New Hampshire for this town hall, a place that Christie obviously owned town halls. But a little practice before Sunday.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing that's interesting about Trump right now going into this town hall debate is that most general election candidates come into the town hall with a lot of practice under their belt from the primaries. Town halls are a staple of primaries in New Hampshire and in Iowa. Trump didn't do that. He did rallies at these events. So he's not as practiced as Clinton is. He's not as practiced as Chris Christie is. I think that it's a good idea for him to be doing a practice town hall tonight. We're getting some reports, though, that the audience is handpicked, that they may be suggesting, or they may be having to submit their questions in advance, which is nothing like what Sunday night is going to be. But for Trump, more practice. I think
the Clinton people have had their share of handpicked.
Absolutely, but if you're going to practice for a nationally televised debate where you're not going to know the questions, you might want to give yourself some practice in that kind of environment a couple days ahead.
Mercedes.
Well, Trump's got to be ready for a very scripted attack dog Hillary Clinton on Sunday. That's why she's in seclusion. She's going to be with some new, fresh...
Even in front of a town hall where there are people that are kind of looking for emoting and engaging, you think that even in that environment...
I do think so, because I think he's got to stay focused on learning how to pivot to his strengths and pivot to Hillary Clinton's weaknesses. So it is dealing, although he will be answering the question to the audience or to that particular person, the fact is that Hillary Clinton is still going to be there, and the fact is that Hillary Clinton will continue trying to bait him. And if he turns around and says, we're going to let me talk about my tax returns a lot more, and doesn't do what Pence did, which Pence was able to ignore Kaine and really pivot on Hillary Clinton's weaknesses, I think that's a strategy that Donald Trump needs to adopt.
Okay, here is Donald Trump. One of the ads Hillary Clinton has out now deals with the things that Donald Trump has said in the past. You've seen different versions of this ad. There's a new one out about body shaming, and Donald Trump was asked about that yesterday.
Do you understand the concern from parents of younger girls that some of the wording that you've used to talk about attractiveness or unattractiveness might make it more difficult for girls who are struggling with their body image and the pressure to be model perfect?
Sure, I do. And, you know, a lot of this is done in the entertainment business. I'm being interviewed for Apprentice long before I ever thought in terms of running for office. Right. A lot of that was done for the purpose of entertainment. And, you know, when people hear it and when they hear it, there's nobody, I can tell you this, there is nobody that has more respect for women than I do.
Charles.
I think the most important thing here for Trump is the morning after. He might have lost the debate. You know, it was pretty close. It was not the rout that people say it was. But he really threw it away the morning after, when he went down the rabbit holes on the Miss Universe and all the other stuff. And that's happened to him before. I think he can hold his own. He just needs to be, to ignore, as everybody here has said, ignore the bait. He should just dismiss all the quotations that he hears the way that Pence did. Deny it ever happened, and then ignore the fact checkers the next day. And then to pivot and to talk about her. The preparation he has to do is to learn a few things she said, to focus in on her weaknesses on Benghazi, which he never mentioned, emails, other stuff, and then just have somebody remove the cell phone overnight, at least for a week. I think he'll be all right.
There's a lot of coverage of the Clinton aides taking a hammer to a cell phone. Maybe the Trump aides, you're saying.
Find that guy.
Find that guy. All right.